Welcome back to Brashenomics, everyone. This is Heather Moore filling in for Ben Brashen. And with us now is Eileen Schoener, who is the owner and president of Eileen Schoener Design, Inc. And she also served on the American Society of Interior Designers Board of Directors and has been the recipient of their Presidential Citation for Outstanding Work in her field and has been published in several design industry publications, which is pretty cool. Eileen, how are you?
Well, good. Nice to see you again, Heather.
I know. I feel like I haven't seen you in quite some time, so I'm glad to have you back, and thanks for coming on with me while Ben's out of town.
Oh, my pleasure.
Now, we were talking about first-time home buyers kind of in those first couple segments, and you might buy a home with the intention to remodel, or if you've been living in your home for some time, and there might be some projects that you want to take care of, whether it's a kitchen remodel, an addition, or bathroom stuff. But I think if you've never gone through the project before, you kind of don't understand how it might change your life while the project is going on in your home.
Absolutely. Especially with a kitchen, that's a good example. Mm-hmm. More gets disrupted than just your kitchen.
Absolutely. And that's what you're going to talk with us a little bit about today, huh?
I'm hoping to, yes, because you have to have a plan and you have to know what's going to go on. Mm-hmm. And people think, oh, my kitchen's getting changed out, but what does that really mean? Mm-hmm. You're going to have to disrupt your kitchen, yes, lose that, but what about the rest of your house?
Right.
Where are the contractors going to work? They need garage space, probably to set up tools, to receive new cabinets, to put the old ones when they take them out. Mm-hmm. But what if your garage is full? And I don't mean cars. A lot of people have stuff. And where do you put that stuff?
Right.
You know, so it really does take some planning ahead to figure out what to do with everything to make room for the changes you're about to get involved in.
Absolutely. And one thing you had mentioned too, before we get in some, tips for planning ahead is preparing to lose your privacy. I think that's one thing people don't realize is how much contact you'll have with these contractors. I lived through a remodel growing up and I knew them all by name, how many kids they had, like where they lived.
If they had a dog, what radio station they like to listen to.
This one. No.
Yeah. Nope. You do lose your privacy. You've got not only your main contractor, but you've got plumbers and electricians and delivery people coming and going at all times of day. And you have to accept that or know about it. And one good way to keep track of that is to have open lines with your contractor on what's happening each day. But sometimes that's a little bit out of his control. Schedules change. So you just have to know that your house is being invaded and live your life that way. You can't run around your house like you used to, maybe, and maybe not in your bathrobe, because you never know if someone's going to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and you can set parameters, but still you got to expect the unexpected. And you talked a little bit, just a second ago about the garage and besides the car, what to do with all the stuff that might be taking up space, because as you mentioned, the contractors are going to need a space to work.
Right, and if they can't deliver the new cabinets to your garage, it might be your living room. So there you lose your living room. You've got to move everything out of the way to make room for a cabinet delivery. And if not in the living room or the garage, where are you going to put them? So that's just something you have to consider. You will have to give up other parts of your house during your remodel. It's something as major as a kitchen, which is quite extensive and can be time-consuming. It can take weeks to months depending on how involved it is.
And even just aside from the clutter and making space, I think that what some people might not realize is as much as you try to contain a project, it might kind of escape and emanate into other parts of your home.
That's absolutely true. Demolition is not dust-free. I don't care if they put up Visqueen everywhere, dust is going to creep out and get into your things. And that's one thing to keep in mind when you're packing up your kitchen and you're going through things and put them in boxes. You really need to seal your boxes. It'll save you a lot of time, a lot of hectic washing dishes, trying to get things back in the cupboard if you've sealed those boxes and things remain clean and dust-free while they're in there. And, of course, it's always good to get them out of the general area, too. But
absolutely. How much do you recommend that people put away? Because I could see I could see both spectrums. I could see the nonchalant people just being, it's okay, we'll clean it. And then the other side of the coin where they put everything away, seal it off.
Well, as you're loading your boxes and you find you have a set of dishes you haven't used in 15 years, why store it? Why not garage sell it, get it ready for a garage sale, give it away? If you have 15 measuring cups, you don't need that many. This is the time to purge, and it's a great time to purge. It's almost like moving. you have to take everything out of your cupboards and put everything back. So what do you really need? Mm-hmm. And this would be an excellent time to remove some of those items that aren't necessary.
Yeah, just a great time to purge, reorganize, assess what you really need. And, you had mentioned, if it is a kitchen remodel that you're going to do, if you're going to choose to live in your home, you'll probably need a kitchen space. So, what's some recommendations that you have, with clients that you've had going through this?
Well, one of the first logical places people go to are their laundry rooms because there's usually a sink, but some laundry rooms do not have a sink. Mm-hmm. Then you are talking about a bathroom. But which bathroom do you use to put a toaster and a coffee pot, a toaster oven, whatever you can get by to cook some small meals? Because contractors and all those people, those strangers coming, going in your house, they also may need a bathroom. So you want to make sure you specify certain areas as for their use and some areas that are not. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of an important thing too, just to set aside an area that is off limits to contractors so that you can leave personal things for your family. The mail comes in somewhere you can put it and find it amongst all the rubble.
Yeah.
I say rubble, but it can get pretty confusing.
It can get a little crazy. And, when it comes to temporary kitchen, whether it is in the master bathroom or some area where there's a sink, you had a couple of recommendations of a list of things you'll need. I think sometimes people don't realize how inconvenienced you become when you're completely pushed out of your space.
Especially if you've boxed everything up and you go, oh, I kept the coffee
crap.
pot, but not the coffee. Or I have a coffee cup, but I don't have a spoon to stir the sugar.
Yeah.
Or where's the sugar?
So this is what you're going to want to do before you box everybody up.
It's a great idea.
Tell us some of the things you're going to need before you put it all away and seal it up.
Yeah, it's a good idea to make a list, make a plan, and have that ahead of time. And you do have time to do all this. When you've decided to remodel your kitchen, you have 5-6 weeks or more before your cabinets arrive. So you have time to do this planning and to make it an easier transition time for you.
And you'd mentioned some items. I heard you say the coffee pot and, of course, the spoons and the silverware and stuff. What are some other good things to maybe have in your temporary kitchen space?
A microwave if you can get one, and a table if you have one to actually put some non-perishable foods on so that when you're hungry in the middle of the night, you don't have to go out or call the pizza delivery guy. You can just go in and have a sandwich, or you can keep bread or crackers and some cheeses maybe. You could have an ice box. Coffee, I mentioned, because everybody needs their coffee pot around the house.
You need a cup of coffee, Eileen.
Yeah. And then if you have a toaster oven, instead of just a toaster, you can actually bake things in that. So just some things to make it easier for you so you don't have to feel like you have to run out to eat every time you're hungry.
Well, yeah, and it's just, these things seem small, but they're so important because remodeling projects, generally, if you're doing something as big as a kitchen, it's not cheap, and to have to maybe go pay for somewhere else to live is not going to be practical.
No, it's not very practical, and you also might have to pay to eat out a lot if you don't have the facility or the desire to fix little meals out of not too technical foods, because you can't really cook very well unless you have a second kitchen, which most people do not.
Well, definitely, remodeling poses some changes to your life, and you had some interesting favorite ways to cope and advice for people that I thought was interesting. I was hoping you could share a couple of these recommendations when you do have some changes going on in your house.
Yeah, I've had some clients that had some funny comments, and I also picked up some comments from the house.com site because they have a lot of suggestions too for people, things they can do when they're remodeling. And some of those were, one gentleman said that he would just pitch a tent and play like he was camping for weeks because he likes the outdoors, and he was going to put a tent up in the backyard and cook over the fireplace and use the barbecue.
Or conversely, plan your vacation maybe around it.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense too. If you have a contractor, and you should be comfortable enough with your contractor that you can leave town.
Yeah.
And just go on vacation during at least the demolition, the really messy, dirty part, because there is a putting together of the kitchen that isn't as, it's not as messy, it's not as dirty, and you can actually function around your house without feeling like you're walking around in dirt.
Absolutely. And I talked about, asking for help, during the beginning of the show, and, asking relatives or neighbors to maybe help you out in your time of need. Could be a way you could go either, whether it's going over for dinner or staying there for a few nights.
Yeah, I knew somebody that went to their neighbor's house for dinner almost every night, and they said they were welcome, but I wonder if they were afterwards, if they
overstaying
offered the same thing after their new kitchen was in. I've stayed with adult children. You know, it's their turn to take care of you. That sort of attitude is kind of funny.
And you had some good food ideas too, because honestly, a makeshift kitchen can be kind of hard. So what were some of the ideas for making sure you got to have some quality meals in your home that's being remodeled?
As far as cooking at the house, or just going out?
I mean, barbecuing.
Oh yeah, the barbecuing. If you take time to prepare meals and freeze them, because your refrigerator or your freezer will be somewhere in the house if it's not in the kitchen. But you could prepare meals that you can keep in the freezer and then just put in the microwave and serve to your family, especially if you have kids and things and you need stuff like that around.
Yeah.
So you just take the time to prepare meals that you can get out during the whole construction phase. And serve them that way.
And like you said, pizza always delivers.
Yeah, pizza delivers, and that's a pretty popular thing.
No, and I just think this is, it may seem like little things, but it's just important. This is what you have to go through to prepare yourself for these changes. And it's important to be prepared for all the little things. Make sure you're communicating effectively with everybody around you, and know that there's going to be a change. But as you said, it's temporary, and you'll probably be a lot happier when it's over.
Absolutely. Planning ahead really does help.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Eileen. She's going to be back with us on the roundtable when we come back in a few minutes. But again, that was Eileen Schoener, president and owner of Eileen Schoener Design. I'm Heather Moore. You're listening to Brashenomics. We'll be right back.